Hey guys, I trying to do another film clip for my webpage. It's entitled "How I Think This Is All Going to Come Down." Uh, my webpage is, of course, about the mark of the beast and the and the beast, who they are, what it represents. About 98% of people have no idea what that is, and hopefully you'll go here down below me. I'm not going to talk about it because I don't feel qualified to do that, to do it in the right way, do it the best way. These guys below me on these videos, study those. I believe your salvation's at stake here, okay? But how I think that's all going to come down uh, is what I wanted to talk about here briefly. And basically, let me tell you where I come from on this, or so you know where I'm coming from. And that's, Jesus taught when he was here, he said that unless you become like children, you should not enter the kingdom of heaven. And my take on that is that I believe that, when you have a kid and he's up on the couch and you tell him to jump, he jumps. He doesn't think about, well, what if you don't catch me, or what if this, what if, he has pure faith in you, and he jumps, and you catch him, and so if you do it again, he's obviously going to do it because he knows. And that's how I believe our faith, uh, basically, are anything. The commandments, anything, are simple. Um, Simple to be understood. And the reason why I believe that it is that way is because each one of us is responsible for our own salvation. And, you see all these things out there coming from different Christian groups and so forth. And, they found a secret code, and there's 3 or 4 blood moons and whatever. Here's the problem I have with that. Some of you guys probably understand some of that. I don't. Okay? So, because I'm not a rocket scientist and all of that, I guess I just don't get the shot at going to heaven because I don't understand all these secrets. And I don't understand all these secret signs and so forth. And so then, what do I have to do? I have to turn around and rely on somebody to tell me the truth. Kind of like we count on Obama and he doesn't. That was a little pun, but okay. But I don't believe that. I believe that each one of us has free will. I believe that each one of us has the ability to um, get our own salvation, so to speak. Jesus died on the cross for us. That was to take over the sins that we're not capable of overcoming, because none of us are capable of doing that. That's what that was all about. So it's that simple. It's not. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure that out. And the other thing is in terms of when he's coming, I think most of us can. You can turn around, look around you, and say, "This isn't right. Jesus is coming. All the signs are there." And you don't need no secret codes or anything else to come out with that. So that's what I'm talking about. Simple faith. Uh, um, if he says keep the commandments, he means keep the commandments. You don't have to go into detail about it or anything else. You keep them, all 10 of them. Not just the ones you like or anything. I mean, it's simple, and I believe that most everything that Jesus taught was simple like that. And he made it in simple terms overall. But man in all of his wisdom have figured out all the secrets. But anyway, so that's where I'm at in it, okay? Sorry about the break here in my video, but I decided there's so much stuff happening that I needed to try to update this, so that's why you're seeing this little break. For those of you that might be seeing this as a separate video on YouTube, I'm making this for a video on my website. So if you want to know what this is all about, go to carlgar.com, and that's Carl with a C. All right. Anyway, back to what I was talking about. My take on these issues, specifically because of this website, talks about the fourth commandment. I'm not going to get into that. I'm leaving that for the guys below here, because they're so much better at explaining things than I am. But it's the same thing. God expects you to, he says, keep my commandments. If you love me, keep my commandments. Not some of them, all of them. Okay? It's that easy. You don't have to get past that, but like I said, I'm not going to get into that, but just for some of those that have a tendency to doubt things like this, this specifically one talking about the fourth commandment, it doesn't even have to be proved by the Bible. I mean, you need to prove it by the Bible, but the Church of Rome, the power of the Catholic Church, freely admits how they changed this, and that's why it's so important for you to understand who and what everything is. When you talk about the beast, the mark of the beast, and all of that, that's why it's so important. And like I said, in their own historical accounts, they tell you exactly what took place that altered God's commandments. Okay, so anyway, you can get into that. These guys below will explain it. They'll tell you where to go, where you can find it, all of that. But I had to update this film video because, like I said, so many things have changed, and they're still going along the same lines. But this is the idea of this video, was to say what my take on it is. Well, for me, it's getting simpler and simpler. You see, you guys need to understand, first of all, that this is all part of what they call the New World Order. If you're not familiar with that, you really need to do a little bit of research and find out. But it's all the nations on Earth basically right now are coming under the control of a New World Order, and it's strictly a conglomeration of a few big corporations and a few wealthy people. Most of the wealthy people have bloodlines that run all the way back to Jesus' time. Okay, so it's well entrenched, and you need to understand that they are very much on top of this thing psychologically. It's hard for people to get their heads around this, but they're experts. They've been working on this thing for a long time, way before Obama or anything, but psychologically they know how you're going to react to certain situations, and everything's being manipulated now. You're being manipulated this very day. And you know, there were little statements that Hitler and Mao and some of these people made at different times, but it all boiled down to the same thing. And in terms of the Communist Manifesto and things, if you tell people repeat the same thing enough times, people start believing it. And if after they hear it enough times, it becomes the truth. And so even Eric Holder used those words when he was talking about gun confiscation before he left office. Okay? Talked strictly about brainwashing people into a different set of values. And there's so many people that are discarding that thing as, oh yeah, a lot of that stuff is basic psychology 101, but some of it's way deeper than that. But they're on top of it. And a lot of these techniques have been used for hundreds of years, and they've just refined them. But they know certain things about human nature and human behavior, and they're utilizing them. And the people of the earth, not just this nation, but of this earth, are all being played like a giant fiddle. And most of them are totally unaware. But anyway, so getting back to this thing about how I think it's coming down, well, I'm trying to explain it's coming down this way because people are allowing it to come down this way. And it's things, some of these things you can change, but you can't do it without some kind of knowledge. You know, like some of you don't know what the New World Order is yet. And it's running the show. Okay? But here's something I like to bring up all the time. One of the primary goals of the New World Order is the extermination of 92% of the population of the world. That's pretty much all of us, you guys. Okay? And the only thing that's going to stop that from happening, well, there's a couple things. If America would turn back to God, turn this nation around, I believe that God would bless us, and we might go on for a longer period of time, and might stop some of these atrocities that are going on around the world. But if they don't, we're the only hope for the world. I believe that's why we were here in the first place. I believe that God intended us to be that. But if you don't know, if you don't research some of these things, you can't know. And if you don't know, you're being played. And the problem with it is that things like climate change. There's a lot of you out there that I know that you support it right now. And you know why you do? Because you've heard so much about it on television. And you keep hearing Obama and different people keep throwing it out there and throwing it out there. Remember the repetition thing? That's what it's about. But the facts are, if you do the research, climate change is a hoax. It doesn't even exist. That's not to say that the humans aren't doing bad things to the planet in some form or another. But like I always say, if you're a Christian, a believer, you know this earth is not going to end in an environmental disaster of some kind. This earth is not going to end by some comet running into the earth and destroying it. You know that. Maybe some of you that don't believe in God and don't believe in the Bible and all that, maybe you don't know that. Overall, that's not my problem. Okay? But you can try to explain it away any way you want, but scientifically speaking, climate change is a hoax. All the leading scientists around the world have all made the same statements. Even NASA came out with a study that they did and said the same thing. Okay? But you're being told that, and if you don't do your own research and find out, then you buy into it. And then when martial law comes in, because that's what the agenda is all about, is getting martial law in this place where you can take away, confiscate weapons so people can't fight back, and then they've got you just like this, okay? And then you're going to do whatever they tell you to do, basically. And if you don't, then you're going to be considered a terrorist or a extremist. And they're selling this all to you right now. They've been selling it for a couple of years now. You know, and I know in my lifetime, 20 years ago, if congressman or a president or somebody came up and tried to identify Christians as terrorists, or veterans, returning veterans as terrorists, they'd been thrown out of office. And now everybody's accepting it. Like, oh yeah, they must be extremists. They're against climate control. Well, if you know anything about climate control, that you know that was BS to begin with. But you don't. And if you don't, you're gonna support it. You're probably sitting there thinking that you're Christian, and or that you're a good person, and that you would never go along with persecuting people and all of that, and you're gonna be right in the middle of it. And that's the way this thing's going to go down with climate. Right now, you have the Pope, you have the United Nations, and you have Obama and his administration all pushing climate control, New World Order, one world religion, and so forth. Hang on. But again, like I was saying, it's repetition. Now you're hearing it from Obama, the Pope, the United Nations, and they're all coming together right now. And, you know, I know that for most of you, the beheadings and everything, the killing of Christians and others in the Middle East, I know it upsets a lot of you. And again, what it basically boils down to is you have people that are controlling how things work around the world, including here, and they're manipulating everybody. And it's called, you know, they create the crisis, and then they supply the answer to the problem. And so psychologically, again, that's how you're manipulated. And if you don't understand that, then you're going to get manipulated. And with all the things that are going on around the world right now, people are wide open for, let's call it a one world religion. Let's call it a one world order. I know, let's confiscate all the guns, and then there won't be any more killing. Well, if you actually do your own research, they're all lies. You know, if somebody wants to kill you bad enough, they don't need a gun. They can do it with a car, they can do it with a knife, they can do it with a cardboard box. So when you start understanding these things in the right way, I call it common sense, most of it, but it sets you up to be a sucker for anything that comes down the path. And again, like I said, Jesus said it, lack of knowledge destroys my people. Okay, and that's it can't be said any plainer than that. That if you know that, for instance, if you know that climate change is a hoax, then anything that comes in around that, supporting it. You know, as a hoax. You know it's a setup. Okay? If you understand what my website's all about, and the beast and the mark of the beast, if you understand those things, then when you see them come down all in the name of, oh, it's to save the planet, oh, it's to save the people, everybody has to be immunized, oh, everybody has to be this, or everybody has to be that, it's for the good of the whole. These are all communist terms, you guys. They've been used over and over and over and over again in history. And if you know anything about history, it's never worked. It's not going to now. In fact, it's worse now than it's ever been, because they've refined the way that they destroy people. They refined all of these things. And if you aren't paying attention, you're gullible for everything that comes down the pike. And so, getting back again to how it's going to come down. It's going to come down that way. And people are going to gladly, let's say, set up a one world religion with the Pope in charge. He seems to be the best guy out there, right? And to stop all this murder and killing around the world from these different groups and whatever. And you're going to gladly jump on that. And whatever it happens to be. I happen to know that one of the things is going to be the Sunday laws, which the Pope has already brought up and is pushing now. And that's the Sunday laws to help save the planet. And this is all garbage. But you're going to fall for it. And unfortunately, a lot of Christians are going to be some of the worst. And I have my own attitude towards what those are. Why they're going to be the worst. But a lot of it's going to come from what we call conservatives right now, from the right. And the thing is like, if you're knowledgeable at all about what's going on, you won't get sucked into all of this stuff. But a lot of people are going to. And so when this thing comes down and martial law comes in, and then they start confiscating guns, and then they start putting these things together, all in the name of saving you, there will come laws like the Sunday laws. And for those of us that understand, we can never accept that. Okay? And we're going to be put on lists, terrorist lists, extremists. And a lot of you people out there, in the name of climate change that you should have known about and don't, you're going to support it. You're going to support these things. You're going to say, oh, those are a bunch of jerks. They're doing things to damage us. They're doing things to damage the earth. They're doing this or that. I'll give you a really quick example, I hope. With a lot of the churches right now, this 501c status is becoming an issue, and it's going to be. And you know what? I understand it. Probably, if we knew what we know now, churches would have probably known better than to get involved in 501c status. But we all trusted the government to do the things that they're supposed to do, and never saw the end of it like that. And it's not working out that way. So what's happening now is, now there's starting to be pressure put on the churches with their 501c status, that if they don't marry homosexuals, which is something that goes against most churches' beliefs, that if they don't do that, they're going to pull their 501c status. And with a lot of the mainline churches out there, the 501c status has allowed them to develop an organization and, a basic company structure, so to speak, a corporate structure, which you need if you're acting in a business-like way, whether you're out spreading the gospel or whatever it is. So they've done those things. And like I said, ignorance is the key here. We didn't know, but now we see it coming, and here's the problem. If they pull those 501c statuses, a lot of churches are going to immediately go bankrupt. Okay? And I understand that that's a sad situation. But more than that, the churches need to understand that it is what it is, and you cannot sacrifice your beliefs for being blackmailed. And a lot of churches are going to allow to be blackmailed to keep their 501c status. But what I was trying to get at as far as to give you an example, I've already seen people who are Christians on Facebook and things. I've seen and heard them make the statements like, well, it serves them right, you know. They had no business doing that and trying to avoid taxes anyway. And the people that were paying tithe into those things so that they could get a tax break, they all deserve it. That's BS. Just between you and me, and if you're one of them that has made those statements, that's BS. Everybody, you know, our tax system needs to be revised. And the reason why people have done things to try to get a tax break is because they need one, because the government's taking too much of their money. And that's a fact. I mean, nobody's going to deny that. And everybody, including you, who will sit there and make a statement like that, if you had an income and you needed to try to save some of that money to keep it in your house, you'll utilize whatever tax breaks you can get. So, but where I'm coming from on this thing is I'm trying to show you what people do to manipulate everything. And they're going to do that in this end times. Totally. They're going to point the finger at people. These are going to be people that right now think they're pretty good people, and that they wouldn't do this and they wouldn't do that, and they're going to do it anyway. And like I said, this little example here, that's an example of what they're already starting to do it. And I'm going to be real honest with you. Some of the worst enemies against the true Christians are going to be people that are calling themselves Christians now, because they're going to know they missed the boat, and for lack of a better way to put it, they're going to be some pissed off people, and then it's going to turn from being the Christians that they call themselves now or whatever. It's going to become a vengeance thing with them. They're going to hate people who stood up for what was right. They're going to be the worst enemies. Some of these people that are what I call evil right now, they could care less. They're busy being evil, doing whatever they do. Okay? So that's how it's going to come down, I believe. And it's going to come down in terms of like climate control, like immunizations, and these types of things. And people are going to turn against other people, sadly. Churches are going to actually join the evil side, Satan, because of their 501c's. We're just coming down to that period, you guys, and you are going to have to make some decisions, and you need to understand that making no decision is making a decision. It's not a good one. So playing neutral, like so many of you have done so far, and why our nation is going down the tube right now, was a decision. and you chose the wrong one. You chose not to stand up. You chose not to stand up for what was right. And we're in a mess. And most people know it now. Even people who don't believe in God and end times and this thing can look and see the handwriting on the wall that something has to give, and it's going to happen pretty soon. And it's like I said, I don't know what's going to create that situation for martial law, because that's the key for Obama and his administration and the New World Order is martial law in this country, so that they can start taking away people's ability to fight back and therefore take over. And it's going to, like I said, it's going to be based on some things that sort of sound good, but they're not. If you've done a little bit of research, they're not right. What they're selling is crap. Okay, and just to push it a little bit further, with the microchips, they're supposed to be it's supposed to be mandatory by 2016, and contrary to what a lot of people believe, that's the mark of the beast or whatever. That's not the mark of the beast. All that is it's a control mechanism, and probably everybody will have one. I don't know, but it's going to come out and on the basis of, oh, well, it's easier to get your health records and know your health if you come in an emergency and blah, 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 and get your money out of the bank and so forth. So it just takes a swipe. But what it's really going to be about is when they decide that you're an enemy, or you're a terrorist, or you're on this list, or you're on that list, it immediately goes into your program. So when you swipe, you can't get health care, you can't buy anything, you can't sell anything, whatever. It just makes the process simple. That's all the microchip is. And so that's how I believe it's going to come down. This thing with Greece, you guys need to understand, if you go back, there's so many things going on around. I know it's hard to kind of stay up with some of it and kind of get your head around all of it. But Greece isn't the first country that this happened to. You guys know that, right? In the last year and a half here, there's been several countries. And the only one so far that has done the right thing was, I believe it was Iceland. And they arrested all their leaders, all their bankers, and what's comparable to our Federal Reserve is I can't remember what it's called. And they threw them all out of the country. They're the only ones that have done it right. All the rest of them, Greece just signed another deal with these. This is the New World Order. These people, this Federal Reserve is a private corporation. I hope you guys understand that. It's a mafia, man, and it's crooked, and it's taking all the money. It's controlling all the money everywhere, including here. And we're in the same boat. They are just they keep printing more paper, so it doesn't look like we're in that boat. And on top of that, giving some of our property in the United States to places like Red China in lieu of something that we owe them, supposedly. Okay? That's the way this thing's working. But any one of a number of things, whether it's riots, the economy, and all the leading expert economists say this country can fold any day. Most of them say it's going to happen this year. And some of them say it's going to happen before September. This you guys need to pay attention to, because I don't know which one is going to get there first. But they're all going to happen in some form or another. The economy could be the killer. But what you guys, I got to throw this out there real quick. What you guys need to do is, if the economy, if they announce tomorrow that the economy's gone, that we're broke and we're now in bankruptcy or whatever, here's what you need to understand. The day that happens, you will not have any access to your ATMs. You'll not have any access to your money. You have no access to any savings that you had, your 401s or anything. It's all gone that day. And I don't wish this on anybody. Sharon and I are in horrible shape. Okay? But all of you are going to be where we're at right now that day. And trust me, from somebody that's there, it's not fun. It's going to be worse then, because everybody's going to be there. And people are going to be fighting over scraps of food, over water, because as you've noticed in a few states, here in Washington, close to us right now, is Oregon. Oregon State has taken control of all water, including the rain water. They say it's theirs, it belongs to them, you don't have any right to it. There's reasons for that. And they're not good reasons. It's that right there. And human beings need water and they need food. Those are two essential things that they need. And places like Oregon have already gained control of those things. If they control those, they control you. You'll do exactly what they want you to do. Or if you're, like some of us would like to be out, what they call prepping. If they catch you drinking out of a stream or something, by the time this comes around and everything, that'll be a death sentence. Not that you're hurting anybody by it, but it doesn't matter, because that's the law. So, again, what I wanted to say to you guys was this. It's coming, you guys, and it's almost here. I hope we can turn it around. I don't think that's going to happen. But you guys need to know what's on this website. Really, you need to know that, number one. But number two in the process, you need to have at least a minimum of 3 months supply of water and non-perishable food. Not garbage, but non-perishable food that has nutrients and everything in it to sustain you. You need those things. And then you can take those things and get away from these real inhabited areas, because people are going to be killing each other over these things. And then that's when things like the church are going to take over and try to gain control and start they're going to, this is supposed to save lives, right? Go back in history. It's never worked like that. They're going to gain control, and then they're going to kill people to do that, all in the name of saving people. But anyway, that's the scenario, and you guys really need to hear this and understand it. That when that day comes, it's not if, it's going to come. And I don't think it's very far away. You have to get those things right now. Have them ready to go. And when you see that it's time to go. Get your families and get out of here, out of wherever you're at, where there's populations, because it's gonna get ugly, and it'll get uglier when the different troops start coming in, all in the name of saving everybody and actually killing people in that process. And anyway, that's my take on it. And somewhere along these lines, the good news is Christ is going to return and he's going to put a stop to all of it. And to be honest with you, I'm ready. I'm praying for that day. I'm also praying that God will help this nation turn around, but I don't think they want to. I love you guys, and I pray for each one of you. Bye.